Welcome, guys, to episode 12 of Life of a Single Mom and
with
Creasha.
Brittney, and we want to thank you guys so much for joining us again for episode 12, like Creasha mentioned. And today I have a few topics to talk about, but we're going to jump right into love and what it meant for me and what it means, for Creasha or anybody else out there. For me, I was always like a hopeless romantic. I believed in love, like the guy, being romantic, pulling out your chair, opening your doors, bringing you flowers, going on dates, and just the whole idea of love, romance, or should I say. Um, but like now it's to the point to where I don't even believe in it no more. I just feel like the idea of love is maybe a immature thought, and I feel like most people are together now or married because of like more business minded reasons. Um, and then I I would say like I just gave up on love now. I feel like if you keep making the same mistake, it's time for you to sit back and reevaluate like what you're doing.
Mhm.
Um, it can't just be, the men. It gotta be something that gotta do with me. Like maybe I need to sit back and reflect for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Take a break. But what do you think about love?
Um, I always had my eyes set out on the opposite of what I saw growing up. Like the women in my family was never like with a kid's father, and they never was like married in a solid situation and built, that home with the white picket fence, the dog, all of that stuff. So I pretty much wanted those things, but I knew that I didn't have that type of example, so I really didn't know how to obtain it. And growing up, when you don't have nobody to show you how to be a real woman, it's like you don't even attract those type of men. You know what I'm saying? Like because of the type of way you were, raised, you are a certain type of woman, and the man that's looking for a wife ain't really looking for them ratchet type of women. So you have to reinvent yourself and grow up a little bit and understand what a real woman stands for and what she does and how she carries herself and what type of mom she is, and how she has to play her part in that relationship. So I think it's different levels to all of it depending on where you are in your life.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think my marriage, well, my soon to be divorce, I feel like with this whole experience, it had a big part of why I've just been like, I'm done with
Mhm.
love, the whole idea of dating and all that. Just because I would say that around the time that, we talked about getting married, I was going through like a phase where you feel like you're getting old and everybody around you is getting married and you don't want to be left behind and you like, damn, I'm about to be
Mhm.
30. Like, I need to get married. I need to do something. And because I already had kids, I'm like, damn, like it's time. But I feel like I pressured, and if a man wants to marry you, he gonna marry you, and you don't have to bring it up. Like he mentioned it, but I really pushed the issue, if that makes
Yeah.
sense to you. Yeah, and I feel like for me, like wanting to be married so bad, I let a lot of shit slide. And so it comes to a point where you have to take some responsibility yourself. Like I say, I'll take maybe 30%, but I'm gonna have to put the rest, the 70, on him because I feel like all the shit that, he put me through and did with the stuff that I did was just I guess a reaction off of the stuff that he did. But at the same time, I'm a grown woman and I'm responsible for my own decisions and actions. So that's why I take partial
Mhm.
blame. Because at times he would do shit that was unforgivable. You know what I'm saying? Just my reactions, I control myself and I can't be responsible for what he do, but I can prevent the stuff that I'm doing. Yes, with marriage, I feel like I've been in 4 long-term relationships and each one it ends the same thing. I'm always cheated on or something. So I'm just like, I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately over the last few months. And I'm just like, damn, I keep picking the same guys over and
Mhm.
over again. And we never really had like a good example of what a good man was supposed to be or do for us and part of the picking bad men has to do with not having that role model in our life and basically the daddy
Mhm.
issues that I had. My stepdad was okay, but he wasn't like a role model. You know what I mean? And then my real dad, I didn't meet him till I was about 13 and then on the verge of being a teen mom and then he passed a few years later. So I never really got to know him in order to see if he had anything to pour into me that would benefit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And his kids have different mothers. So, that has a lot to do with it too. Which part of this is the reason why I've, decided that maybe it's time for me to do another stint of celibacy because I feel like I need to buckle down, get to know who I am, what I like, what I desire, what I
Mhm.
want, things like that. Because, I feel like I've sacrificed my life for my kids and my partners, not myself, everybody but me. And I feel like now is my time to do that. I've done celibacy twice, and we're gonna talk about like my experiences both times and the pros and cons. The first time I did it, it was for a year when my older kid's dad first went to prison. This was like 20 years ago, something like
Mhm.
that. So um, I did that for a year until I, started to crave the companionship of a male. And that's how that happened. But at that time I was young too. I was still in high school. So I think that had a lot to do with why the length was only a year and not longer. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Um, the second time I was older, it was like 2013 when I left Vegas and moved back to California. I had just broken up with my daughter's father. And that time, I believe I went for 2.5 years. And I would say that it was 50-50 as far as my motivation for wanting to do celibacy. I think it was, being tired of these niggas shit.
Mhm.
I think
So what you saying is half of it you wanted, half of your thought to do it was because you was tired of them and the stuff they was putting you through, and the other part was just doing something for you, just to see how that would feel, so to speak.
Well, I guess yeah, to find myself and that was I guess that'll lead me right into the pros of that. During that time for me, I feel like I was at the most peace I had ever been.
Mhm.
I didn't have to worry about a nigga in my bed, laying on my pillows, who he texting or
Yeah.
calling, I was able to spend more time with me and focus on me. And around that time, I think I lost like 40 pounds. Within 2 months, I was exercising, going out with my coworkers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I was having a good time. I would say too that for me, sex with men has never really been like all that for me. I would have to say that most of the time in all my relationships, I believe I did it just because I knew it was expected of me. But I never really enjoyed it per
Yeah.
se. I guess that's what you can say. I've only like been able to reach like climax probably twice, and that was with my husband and one other guy, and that was in my whole life. So, um, yeah, so I think that contributed to it too. I would say, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I feel like it's more so overrated for me. I know you've always talked about how, you love sex and that's just
It's
your thing.
yeah,
And I'm always
you have to have those experiences to know, what they are. Like why I speak on the stuff that I speak on because the things that I experience.
right, right. And see, that's the difference for me. I've never experienced that. I don't know. I feel like maybe it could be something like where I have more of attraction to the other sex.
Yeah,
You
to
know what I
women.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I have had some experiences like that in my life.
Sometimes it can be like that. I mean, yeah, my first experience with a woman was something so, like exciting. So it was something new, and you was like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, I could probably do this, but my mom didn't approve of that type of stuff. So I
Yeah.
never even pushed the issue. And my godmom, too, she'd have tripped out. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I only had a little relationship with my mom. So I wasn't going to mess it up just to do all that. But for me, it's just an extracurricular activity in my adult world, so to speak.
See, and that's the thing. Like for you, it's more of a hobby. For me, it's more of an interest. You know what I mean? Like, uh, for me, my experience was good, but my interaction as far as my mom was bad. Like when she found out, she embarrassed me like at a store, calling me all
Wow.
kind of uh pussy eating bitches and all kind of shit. Like, so that kind of
Wow,
you
mom.
know deterred me. I know, and but my first experience, the girl spoiled me. She catered to me. She was cute. So I've never had an issue with that. And another thing, like, this is what I want to ask in relationships, and I know because we talk, but have you found yourself where you have to lie about your O's?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, because when you love somebody, these men be not understanding that sometimes they don't even know what they doing. They don't even know how to please you in those ways. So it's like you don't want to make them feel bad. So you still push the issue and play. Like I've had several times I had to do that, like the sounds and all, you know what I'm saying? The movements and everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just it just depends on if that person is worth it because a
Yeah.
person that you don't really care about you just gonna tell them about themselves, but a person that you really messing with and that's
Hmm.
your dude like that, like you don't want to break him down like that in that way,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Emasculate him and break his
you gonna
spirit
lie about
down. Like,
it.
yeah,
He
that's
broke my
exactly
back
like,
this morning.
yeah. It's funny that you said the movements and the sounds because that's exactly what you got to do. Like, and I think, that has a lot to do with because I feel like men are so focused on their enjoyment and the way they feel, and they don't take time to learn the
Hmm.
woman's movements and how she responds. That'll tell you if she like it or not. Like, and I'm not doing that no more. Like Megan Thee Stallion said, I'm not lying to no niggas about my O's no more. It's over with because I'm doing you a disservice and myself a disservice because which leads me up to the point of why I have only experienced that twice in my whole life. And I've been in long term relationships, so there's no excuse for that. But had I been being honest, it probably could have gotten better and I probably could have gotten there. But I just feel like maybe dick is overrated. I guess
Yeah.
if I say that, I really do. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful piece, but it's overrated at times. Like, I just think, like, also, like, in society, too, I think, like, the experience with my mom and what she did to me when she found out, and then, uh, not wanting to be judged for that, and
Hmm.
then me being a mother, too, not wanting to. be around my kids with that type of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that had a lot to do with me suppressing my urges and desires for years and years. And that's what I'm like starting to think. Like
You older.
maybe
So
I need
now
to.
that you older, do you have those urges a little more?
I think so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
honestly think so. I think my experiences and my relationships with men have a lot to do with why I'm leaning more towards to that side too. So it could be like a combination of
Hmm.
things, but I just feel like that's an avenue I haven't fully explored due to, me suppressing stuff because of being worried about what people think. And I'm always like outspoken and I don't care what nobody think or, about me. And I do care for some things, you know what I'm saying? Not as far as people I know or what they, but society. I don't want to be viewed as a
Now,
certain way. I
do
don't want
you
to be looked at.
think you feel that way because you just more attracted to that side, or do you think you just more exhausted with the men that you've came across, so that you just don't have the energy to actually, try it again with a man? Maybe you leaning towards that side because of that, or
I actually think that it's a combination of both. Like I feel like it has to do with my past hurt and present hurt with men, and then because I have always been extremely attracted to women.
okay.
So
Because I mean, I asked that because I've been in situations like where I'm just like so sick of my baby daddy, and I'm just like, oh yeah, if this don't work out, I'm gonna be a lesbian and stuff. And now that I'm not with him, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to be a lesbian. I mean, like it might be some fun shit to do, but I still want some masculine, that strength, that you know what I'm saying? I don't want to turn around and be with her.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like, I mean, women gotta stop lying too. Like, y'all can't be telling people that the strap-ons work just as good as the real thing, because that's
Mm,
not the truth. And I'm a firm believer of, pleasing yourself and all that. Like, I have a plethora of items. I love going shopping at those stores, and but
yeah,
sometimes, like, it'd be good, but and sometimes you still need that touch of a man. You know what I'm saying? Like
I get you.
that that does something, yeah, and it's different. Like, I don't necessarily think like that I'll never try one again. I just feel like let me explore this real quick and see, because now my kids are older. The last ones be grown soon, and I feel like now is the time for me to explore, myself, things I like, what I want to do, find out who Brittany is. I know my youngest son was talking about he wanted to do indoor skydiving, and I'm afraid of heights, but we'll do anything for our kids, and that's why I be going on all the rides at the amusement parks. I don't like them gondola swings and all that stuff. I don't like none of that stuff. And so yeah, for me, I think that's something that I definitely want to explore. Um, Next, I want to talk about having suicidal thoughts from as early as I can remember. I remember this one particular time I was probably like 11, and me and my mom got into it for something, but I remember going into my room and just closing the door and praying to God, like, please, God, take me away from here, rescue me, like, help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, feeling
Mhm.
helpless, and everybody around me had been telling me about God for years and to pray and all that. And I just, from that young of an age, I think I kind of, that's where my faith like diminished and decreased in God, because I felt like he didn't hear me, he wasn't there for
Mhm.
me, like, and back then I was an innocent child, so it's like, God, why won't you help this innocent child,
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of further pushed me along the lines of, well, if there is a God, why does he let this kind of
Right.
stuff happen, you know?
Um, do you think your thoughts about that? is coming from just you being a child, feeling like God is not listening to you, or do you feel like you just didn't wait to hear him?
That's a good question. Um, I feel like as a child, you more immature and you don't really know, so you asking God for things and you just expect them then because you don't understand. But now that I'm older and trying to build, my faith, I know that sometimes you have to wait. I know I always hear people say like, uh he may not do it when you want to, but he's always
Mm-hmm.
on time. And it's a struggle for me right now. Like I struggle with this every day with trusting him and believing and trusting the process and trying not to be down. And I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, I don't get down, and because I'll be depressed all the time. And that's another thing I was gonna say. Like my suicidal thoughts have become more frequent because of everything that I'm going through, and I just feel like, damn, like, what am I here for? Like, what am I still holding on for? And I know my aunt always tells me, like, oh, you here for a reason. Your story needs to be heard. God has you here for a reason. I'm just like, God, tell me. Because I'm 37 and I still don't know yet. I want to be more than somebody's mama or somebody's wife. I want to find what my passion is, what God put me on this earth for.
Sometimes you have to let go of things in order for him to be able to show you things, because it's like if you have a calling on your life, but the people that you got around you have, some evil activity going on in their life, like they might not be the ones that need to go to the next level with you, you know what I'm saying? So it's, so to speak, like when you holding on to baggage and wild thoughts and old habits and old behaviors, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's like having an anchor on you if you was swimming in a swimming pool, like it's gonna weigh you down, so all the things that we hold on to because we so used to holding on to stuff and handling it on our own, when we really need to release those things so that better can come, but a lot of us don't see it like that. We always feel like we got to be independent and take care of everything ourselves, and that's not cool, because when you're dealing with God, you have to look at everything in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is done in the flesh. It's like when you ask somebody a question, if they dealing with the flesh, they gonna give you a different answer than the person that's dealing with the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be totally different. So you gotta watch out for that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And see, that's the thing. Like I said, I think that's the immaturity in a
Mm-hmm.
person. Excuse me, to just expect that, stuff gonna happen when you
Yeah.
want it to happen. Like it's a process. And like you said, you may not be able to see that process, but God is working that process behind
Mm-hmm.
the scenes. And so that's what I'm trying to do more is trusting God and reassure myself that there is a God and that, because I've never really believed in things that I can't really see. Like I'm always asking people, like, how do you know there's an
Have
afterlife?
you
How do
ever
you
been in
know
a
there's a God? How do you
situation where
know?
you know that God delivered you out of that situation? Have you ever had like any type of situation that you feel like,
Well, I guess, I could say like I'm still standing because of God, but I don't necessarily feel like God delivered me out of those situations. I believe that God helps those who help themselves. And I believe that me and God got myself out of certain situations. I don't believe that God just did it
and you
himself.
absolutely right though, when it comes to that statement, because you do have to do some work in order for God to do work. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to do it everything. He's going to, bring certain people in your life to teach you certain things, but that don't
Mhm.
mean they going to do everything for you. They might guide you in the direction you need to go in, or give you the scripture you need to read to help your life, or they might be put in a position to put you in a position, but they not gonna necessarily physically take you and put you in that place. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely got to do the work. So it's awesome that you even know that y'all both got to do the work, because some people think that they gonna pray and God just gonna do it all, but no, he only move when you move.
Definitely. While we still on God, I just want to say this because, like we're having a real transparent conversation, about our sexuality and things like that. And, there may be some people that feel like, oh, you can't mix, being bisexual with Christianity. And that's not true at all. God knows me. He knows my heart. He knows who I am at my core. And I don't think that a person can be defined just by their sexuality. I don't think that that's the determining factor on whether or not you get into heaven or not. I just don't believe that. I believe that, you follow, and I'm not no saint. I don't claim to be. I do know that my whole life I've tried to live like I tell my kids all the time from the time they was little, you treat people how you want to be treated, and that's how I treat people. Like I'll give people clothes, I'll give people shoes if I have to. Like I saw this lady at the recycling center. She didn't have no shoes on, and if you ever been to a recycling center, it's broken glass all over the floor. And so I just took off my slippers and gave them to her. And I'm walking around there barefooted too, but I do stuff like that. And it's not for anybody to see or for me to get the credit. I've just always been like that. I grew up homeless, in and out of shelters, so I'm always helping to feed people. I brought people to my house to take showers. I do a lot, and I'll help my neighbors, and that's just the type of person I am. So I stand on that, and that's God's basic commandments. Did you give your brothers food when they
Mhm.
were hungry? Were you there for them? Did you clothe them? That's what I live by, and that's what I
Exactly.
believe. I believe that's the basics and the determining factor on what makes you a good Christian and how you gonna get into heaven, if that makes sense. How do
Yeah.
you feel about
I
that, Creasha?
definitely think that you have to be a giver, because God always blesses you to be a blessing to someone else, and can't you can't
Exactly.
be blessed and then be selfish to people, you know what I'm saying? And you
Hmm.
have to teach your kids that too, because giving to other people, which is why we've in the past, taken our kids at different times to feed the homeless, like out of our own hard earned money, you know what I'm saying? Because they have to know what it's like to give to people that can never return the favor, or people that just ain't gonna never have nothing, And not the ones that's sitting in front of the shelter, it's the ones that's just bought a freeway and on the sideline, don't even expect no dinner or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? That is something you need to do, because we all here together, and you got to really help each other. You know what I'm saying? If you see anything that you can do to help another person, you have to reach out, because if you don't have a conscience, then you probably wouldn't care. But if you a
Hmm.
person that has a conscience, you're gonna think about it later if you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Cause I know been times that I
Yeah.
just didn't have time to give this person $1, and I'm like, dang, I should have gave them $1, or I should have went back, or something like that. You feel it later, you know what I'm saying? Cause your conscience be speaking to you like, yeah, you should have gave him some money, cause you finna go spend this money on some worthless stuff anyway. How you gonna be in McDonald's wasting your $10, but you can't get a bum right there $1? Like, that's just selfish. You know what I'm saying? It's selfish.
Yeah, that goes without saying. And it's like you said that it'll eat at your conscience if you don't do it, especially when because your heart, at the core, you know what I'm saying? And God will tap you on the shoulder like, hey, you're supposed to get him that. You're supposed to do this. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And um, that's what I wanted to go back, touching back on the suicidal thoughts. I know how you go to the doctor office and they'll ask you to fill out that
Hmm.
questionnaire on if you have any suicidal thoughts. And I'm always like, I'll tell my auntie, like, if I really tell the truth on how I'm really feeling, like my kids will be in CPS, I'll be in a
Hmm.
mental institution. Like, it's so much
Yeah.
stuff that you gotta hide in order to keep the family together, in order to maintain stability. Because Lord knows, it's days I just want to throw in the towel and just be done. I just want to crumble and fall and not have to worry about holding everything together or keeping up pretenses or none of that, you know?
I feel like
And that's,
people think that you are crazy and you have issues because you have those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily think that, because
hmm
I think the best people, the most richest people have those same type of thoughts depending on the situation. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter how stable you are financially or none of that. If your mental ain't right or you having just a bad day, like a single mom can break down and be ready to give up on everything just because it's one of them days. You know what I'm saying? And if you a mom raising kids, you done had them days with or without the dad. Cause parenting is just crazy, just like all paying all your bills in this economy right now is crazy. So we've all had some of those days. But it's more so that's why us women and men need like men circles, women circles, that we can uplift each other and talk about those things and see what stressful situations people have just like us and how they handle those problems. We might be draining ourselves in some areas because we ain't doing the shit right, or we just taking too much time on one thing. Like prioritizing your things and putting everything in certain places and organized helps, probably, you know what I'm saying. But when you just doing it and you just throwing shit out there because it's all in a pile, like for us, we know we got to do all of these things in one, and it really don't matter which way we grabbing it because they all got to get done, you know what I'm saying. But sometimes it just take a little more rearranging and shit, and it'll be different.
yeah, that's what I wanted to say also. Like, I'm glad you brought up the fact that it's important that we have those circles, that we could turn to, because suicide is a real thing. And if you guys know anybody with these thoughts or feelings, be there for them or direct them to, you know, uh, a suicide hotline or something like that, that they can get the help that they need. I thank God, for my sister and my aunt, because they talk me off the ledge at least once a week. I'm on that thing. I'm on that thing thinking like, fuck this, I'm done. I don't care. Whoop whoop
Yeah.
whoop. Like, but you gotta have at least a couple people, and I don't have many, but I have at least two people that, will talk me off that ledge. But the next thing I wanted to jump into with you guys is going back to the the topic of being bisexual. What I wanted to ask you, Creasha, was what, if anything, did you like most about the experiences?
With women, um
Yes.
I don't like the fact that they are so mushy and pretty much like me, right? But I do like the fact that it's a fun experience. You know what I'm saying? You get to be around somebody that's kind of like you, like the same things you like to do. Like, because dudes don't want to go to the nail shop, dudes don't want to go get their hair done like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain things you can do with them that you can't.
So are you saying that you only do it for the camaraderie? Is that
I do
what
it
you're
for
saying? Like,
the adult fun and some chill time.
okay, so without saying too much, okay, I was gonna say, because if you doing that just to have a homegirl,
Nah,
like, you ain't gotta do all that.
nah. That's what I got my
Okay,
sisters for, girl.
okay,
It's a different type of
yeah.
situation.
For me, I would say the whole experience is very like
Mhm.
sensual and erotic, and that's what I enjoy most out of it. And women are beautiful, so that's another thing like that I would have to say. And which kind of leads me into my next topic, Krisha. I have a
All
question
right.
for you. Have, have you ever had a threesome?
I have.
And
Mhm.
you have. Okay, how was that experience for you?
The experience was different because I had a couple of different, tries. But my advice to people that want to, or is, just debating on if they are gonna try, don't do it with nobody that you got feelings for. Because if you do it with somebody you got feelings for, it's gonna be drama. It's gonna be drama. It's gonna be attitudes popping, and you don't need that type of drama when you're trying to experience some fun. So just do it, have fun doing it, but don't do it with nobody you care about because it's gonna be some problems.
I feel like often it's not too many men that really, be okay with it. I feel like it's more of a ego thing. Like no man wants to think of their woman being more satisfied by the same sex. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Versus them, they start to question, well, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I, And for the most part, 95% of the time, it has nothing to do with you. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And like, I've never experienced that where no niggas being petty about it or caught an attitude because of that. Like, my oldest kid's dad used to watch my son for me to go do that. Like, it was cool like that. And then my daughter's father was the same way. Like, he was never like that. So I don't know what it's like to, have that reaction from a
Well,
man.
yeah, I've had that reaction, and it's not a good reaction
You
because
said that.
I thought that it should be a fun experience for everybody involved, and it was a mutual decision. But it don't always be like that. Some people say they can handle what they can't handle, and then when it's right in their face, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure everybody on the same page and feeling comfortable about it before you make those moves, because you will fuck around and turn somebody off.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Um, I think for the
Hmm.
most part, what I think is important, well, for me, I'm going to say that I have had a couple of them. I've even had one where I was propositioned to be a part of it, But when it is, like you said, someone that you with, that you love, I don't necessarily think that that's a good look because, like you said, it's going to bother you. You're going to get jealous.
Hmm.
You're gonna be in your feelings, once you see your partner engaging with another person. It's just a natural thing. And it brings me to like the fact that I told you guys that I was actually asked to be in a couple, you know what I'm saying? And I was in one with a husband and a wife, and I was in one with a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And both times it worked out the same way. Like when the girl's boyfriend was, downtown, she was just
But
watching,
downtown.
and you could tell you could tell her face was like it was sad. Like, I just grabbed my shit and ran out the room, like, because I never want to be the source of another woman's pain, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not my thing. And so when I recognize that, I'm out. And just so you guys know, like, we had a pre-talk before, and I explained, how I felt when I did it with my dude, and to make sure she was okay. And she was so confident, and yeah, no, I'm cool. And immediately, as soon as it happened, boom, switch,
Hmm.
And then I had the other experience where the husband got jealous and didn't want his wife fucking with me no more. You know what I'm saying? So I've had both ways where you get hated over for both ways. But
Yeah.
yeah. Um so I don't think that that's something that I would do again. Yeah, I don't think that that's something that I would do again. But that's definitely that was my experience with it.
Yeah.
What
I would
about you?
not do it again unless I was single and I just was doing my own thing, and that's just something I wanted to do at that time with two different people. But like being in a relationship, I would not share nothing I have.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that if it was probably two women, then yeah, I would do it, but not like
Yeah.
the old ways.
Ways.
But so we're gonna start doing something new, you guys. Every week during our episode, we're gonna share a scripture. We wanted to incorporate this because, I'm on a new journey to building my faith and my relationship with God, and I just want to make sure that I'm accountable and that I'm doing the things I need to do. And I, of course, want to bring you guys along for that journey so you can see my growth in, about a year. And you know what I'm saying? So, the scripture that spoke to me today is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. And it reads, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might." Um, to me, with everything that's been going on for me, I kind of feel like I'm always sinking, my knees are buckling, you know what I'm saying? And I can't catch a break. And I feel like this spoke to me because now I'm at a point to where I ran out of options. Like I've tried everything else. It's time to try, like they say, try Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I can't run anymore, that I'm forced. God has put me in a situation where the only place that I have to turn is for him. And this is gonna allow me to strengthen my faith and start to believe more that he has the power to do this. And um because I didn't fault God along the way. Like I've talked negative. I know you remember, like my aunt remembers that I'll shoot you down when it come to talking about God, because I wasn't
Mhm.
there. And I'm always like, well, why does this happen? Why does he let this happen? Why are there homeless people? Why is it, But at the end of the day, those those questions can be answered too, but the ones that I really want answered, I want to feel spiritually. I want to be able to not doubt anymore. I want to know, like, there is a God, there is an afterlife. I don't just want to assume there is because people tell me that anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I believe
Mhm.
you in a
So yeah,
position to show himself to you as we speak. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that you at a part of life where you can't do nothing but trust him. You know what I'm saying? And see what happens. Like you tried it your way. We've all tried it our way, but it's time to try it his way and see how your life come out on that side, because a lot of times we say we trust in God and we pick it right back up. Like we wait a little bit and be like, nah, this is taking too long. I could just do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, you mess it up because God is like, oh, okay, you're going to come to me, ask for my help, and then push me and force me on a time limit too. So we got to be patient and
yeah,
listen for when he, want us to move and certain things like I was listening to TD Jakes a couple weeks ago and it was saying timing is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like God doesn't give you certain things until the time is right, because if he bless you with certain things before the time, you might mess up the blessing or you might miss it. You know what I'm saying? Or not be prepared for it or be strong enough to actually go through that storm. So it's like you have to wait for him. That's why they say let him order your steps, because when he order your steps, everything is ordained by God in his path the way he wanted.
yeah. I definitely think that, and that I think that's a part of my building my relationship and my trust in God, because knowing that what is meant for me is gonna be given to me. You know what I'm saying? And not, I guess, not being jealous of other people and feeling like, damn, when is our time gonna come? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's just another testament to my faith, because I do have those days. Like, we talk about this all the time, where we work really hard. We was born into the struggle and we've been fighting our whole life to get out. And so that impacts my faith as well. And I'm trying to be better as far as that. So, yeah, you guys make sure you coming along with this journey, and we're gonna be giving you our scriptures each week and our take on them and why they speak to us. Creasha, is there anything you wanted to add before you get into the outgoing message?
No, I think I said everything I wanted to say. Just trust God before you trust man, you guys, because life is hard and it's even harder without God in the center of your life, you know? Like it's not that you're going to trust God and get everything that you want overnight, you know, but it's a start to a better life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to add on to that, like even though I don't have a lot of faith right now and I don't believe always, I do feel like it's the grace of God that's keeping me here because I told you it's some days I don't want to live. I don't want to go on. I
Wow.
feel like I'm not going to be able to, but without it even being a thought in my head, I somehow I keep trekking on. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And it's like my mind won't conform to giving up or being done. Even though I may say it, my mind is trained to never do that. And I can only attribute that to, the power of God, and him holding me in the midst of everything, no matter what, no matter how much I doubt, no matter how much I stray or go against, no matter how much I fight
Mhm.
him, and I think the most important thing to take away from that is that until I can realize, the love that God has for me and how he sees me, only then can I be content and really know
Mhm.
God. You know what I mean? Because that's the problem. I've never realized how much he loves me and just how much he's willing to give and do for me. I haven't accepted that yet. So it's still a process, and like I
You'll
said, it's
get
a
there.
testimony on being faithful. Yeah. And so yeah, that's just something we're gonna be doing. Creasha, did you want to tell the people about our
Yeah,
outgoing
I'm going to be
message?
reading a verse to you youth out there from Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in the way you love. Be a leader, young people. Be someone that we all can lean on. Hard work pays off. Don't let the internet get you caught up with these worldly things. Don't stress yourself about the things that you see on the internet that people have and people want you to believe that you need that to be, fitting in with other people. Like we all got our own journeys out here. You an individual person. Be yourself. Learn to love you. Learn to appreciate who you are in your own skin. Don't let nobody tell you who you gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people have dreams when they kids, and just being around the wrong people crush your dreams just because they telling you that you can't dream that big. So don't let nobody tell you what you can be and who you supposed to be. You grow up, love yourself, be determined in what you want to do, make your mind up and stick to it. It's a lot of things out here that young folks are not being taught. But y'all need to not be foolish and let these internet things fool you and make you think that that's what you have to have a good life. You don't have to have a fancy Tesla or all those, millions of dollars cars, big two-story houses, living by the beach, all of that stuff that y'all see on TV. I mean, you can have some of that stuff, but don't think that that's how you need to live to have a good life. Because it's people that's living outside and they got a better life than those people. So everything that you see on TV is not what it really is.
I think that's a good point. I've always told my kids to be leaders and not followers. And anytime they tell me like, "Oh, my friends do this," or my friends' mom, I don't give a flying. You
Mm.
know what? You know what I'm saying? I care about my kids and I have standards for my kids because that's what I instilled in y'all. I don't want to hear nothing about what your friends. And I always tell them, if your friends going to shoot up a school or rob a bank, you going to go with them too? Like just because they doing it, or if that's the determining factor on whether or not we going to do something is based off what our friends is doing. Um, I think that's important. Like I'm a firm believer of being in your true self and not letting nobody um influence you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, nobody's perfect and you're gonna make bad choices and bad decisions. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
let that decision be something that you made and not because you was influenced by
Right.
somebody else and somebody else told you to do this or you saw somebody else do it. Let it be something that you chose to do on your own that, nobody can say, hey, I told him to do. No, I did it myself. It was a bad choice. I learned from it, and that's just what it is. Did you want to add anything else before I say
No,
something?
I just wanted you guys to learn to love yourselves and protect your kids. Watch their friends. Watch the things they watch on TV because it's a lot of stuff that's going on.
I think that's true too. You gotta be, and I think sometimes as single mothers or single dads, we get so caught up in our busy life or we
Mhm.
tired or overworked, overwhelmed to where we'll be like, oh, I'll check that tomorrow or I'll deal with that tomorrow. And you can't
Yeah.
be like that. You gotta do it now. Like it's so many times when my kids were, younger and teenagers that I should have been popping up in their phones and doing all this stuff, but I would be too
Yeah.
tired. Like, man, I'll check
And
tomorrow. You know
tomorrow
what I'm
never.
saying? And I'm not like that. Yeah. And I'm not like that anymore. Like I have a 5-year-old and it's a big age gap from my other kids. So I'm trying to do different with them. And so yeah, I think it's important that, we keep tabs on our kids and we doing monitoring their uh what they're doing and who they're around. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Again, you guys, we want to thank you guys for joining us again for episode 12. uh we're moving along here, you guys, and make sure y'all following us. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your family to tell your other
Share,
family,
like,
tell your,
all that.
yes, make sure you guys are sharing and liking the posts and following us so we can get our followers up, you guys. And on TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, you guys can find us under the acronym of Life of a Single Mom, which is LOASM 2024. That's on TikTok and Twitter. Well, X now. And we're also on Instagram, Facebook. You can find us under Life of a Single Mom with Brittney and Creasha. Make sure you guys are tuning in every Monday night at 6 for new episodes uploaded to Spotify and YouTube. And if you guys want to leave us any comments, any questions, stories, advice, thoughts, concerns, or you just want to say hi, email us at LOASM2024 at Gmail or LOASM2025 at Gmail. And as always, you guys, we want you to do your best to stay less stressed and more blessed as you deal with the trials and tribulations of life of a single mom.
Bye, guys.
Until next time, bye, guys.